When most people picture artificial intelligence, they imagine an omniscient, conversational oracle ready to solve any problem instantly. This diagram illustrates the typical consumer experience. You type an open-ended prompt into a single linear input node, and the system generates a highly variable, probabilistic response. That open-ended creativity works for drafting emails or brainstorming. However, these tools are incompatible with highly regulated enterprise environments, where a single incorrect word carries immediate legal consequences. Enterprise AI functions as a chaotic, high-speed industrial assembly line, requiring constant human guidance to maintain its operational integrity. In the real world, the value of these systems relies on extreme operational restraint and structural control, rather than creative prompting. To see how this control is applied, we can look at a specific contracted staffing position, an on-site office clerk managing a Florida Homeowners Association. This specific role operates entirely within a framework known as a human-in-the-loop architecture. This cyclical web architecture shows the agent manager sitting at the absolute center of disjointed tools. They act as the manual bridge connecting Gemini custom gems, Google Apps Script, Smartsheet, and physical mail intake. The operator is never asked to generate clever prompts on the fly. Their job is to trigger pre-configured AI agents to execute rigid, predefined tasks. The daily workflow involves executing Google Apps Script PDF generators to produce official legal notices and prompting custom gems to draft committee agendas and newsletters based on strictly approved templates. All of this occurs under the strict legal oversight of Florida Statute Section 720.305. Any deviation or hallucination from the AI introduces immediate financial and legal liability for the association. The agent manager is an orchestrator, actively forcing a probabilistic machine to execute a highly deterministic legal process. The friction of managing this system begins long before any code runs, starting with the physical intake process. Before automated digital workflows begin, human senses must physically verify the chaotic, messy reality of the outside world. Every day, the agent manager retrieves paper mail and logs physical assessment checks, and conducts visual safety checks of amenities like the pool deck and tennis courts. These physical duties are tightly bound by strict digital service-level agreements. Any maintenance concern or incident report discovered during these rounds must be logged directly into Smartsheet within a rigid 4-hour window. A large language model cannot perceive a broken fence line or a physical paper check sitting in a Dropbox. The human operator serves as the mandatory on-the-ground sensor, translating physical evidence into structured digital data. Without that high-speed physical-to-digital context switching, the downstream automation remains blind and useless. Once verified, the legal clock starts. This flowchart maps the procedure, beginning at Step 1. The agent manager initiates the timeline by drafting the Notice of Right to Hearing. This notice must describe the violation, the required cure, and be delivered exactly 14 days before the hearing. Executing this task requires strict adherence to a ministerial limitation. This allows the clerk to perform the job without a specialized community association manager license. Under this limitation, the operator is explicitly prohibited from modifying pre-approved legal template text, deciding violation severities, or making policy interpretations. A standard user might ask ChatGPT to rewrite a legal letter to sound friendlier. In this workflow, altering the tone of a statutory notice is a fireable offense. The clerk triggers a custom gem to populate the convening email, but they act strictly as a gatekeeping editor. The human-in-the-loop review exists to catch and delete any unauthorized legal threats or policy hallucinations generated by the language model. Even after generation and review, no legal notice can be issued without formal sign-off from the board of directors. In enterprise AI, a human operator's most valuable skill is active restraint, preventing the software from executing anything beyond its legal authorization. After the initial notice goes out, the pipeline advances to Steps 2, 3, and 4, the fining committee process. Convening this committee involves significant logistical friction. The clerk must verify a strict quorum of at least 3 independent members. This introduces the next critical requirement of the role: system state management across disjointed platforms. AI tools do not automatically talk to each other to track time or quorum limits. A countdown clock runs in Smartsheet, and when it hits 0, a manual human toggle must switch to fire Google Apps Script. The agent manager actively watches the Smartsheet tracker, ensuring all 14 calendar days expire before manually advancing the system state. During the hearing, if the committee confirms the fine by majority vote, a new 30-day payment deadline is set. The clerk then executes the next automation handoff, manually triggering Google Apps Script to generate the final post-hearing notice PDF. A misfire here is catastrophic. If the app script triggers before that 30-day window expires, premature legal fees begin accruing against the homeowner, directly violating Florida statute. If the fine remains unpaid past 90 days, the clerk manually routes the file back to the board for amenity access suspension approvals. The AI serves as a discrete tool deployed by the agent manager at highly specific, legally mandated intervals. Looking back at the entire HOA finding pipeline, generating open-ended text makes up a fraction of the actual work. This side-by-side comparison distinguishes between amateur AI usage and professional agent management. Amateurs spend their time optimizing prompt engineering to extract the most interesting single output. Professionals focus on system triggers, enforcing strict boundaries, and managing state transitions across Smartsheet, AppScript, and Gemini. Throughout all of these tool interactions, the operator maintains absolute discretion and confidentiality regarding homeowner property records. The professional's true value lies in acting as the reliable, accountable bridge between volatile intelligence and rigid legal frameworks. This dynamic scales far beyond a single homeowners association into the wider enterprise landscape. As generative models integrate deeply into corporate operations, the demand for users who simply type open-ended questions will rapidly decrease. Organizational demand shifts toward these orchestration roles as companies attempt to deploy probabilistic intelligence within rigid legal frameworks. Reliable enterprise operations depend on managers who build and maintain the rigid tracks, guiding autonomous AI-driven processes safely forward. The software provides raw acceleration. The human in the loop provides the steering, the brakes, and the legal liability required to actually deploy it.